with Brandon.burks. Today's guest dazzled California audiences in a tiara as a state pageant title holder and a history-making princess. She was recently seen on Broadway in Beautiful, the Carole King musical, and is currently in rehearsals for Once Upon a One More Time. Her vast beauty, rich spirit, and endless talent is making major waves in the Broadway community. Welcome, Salisha Thomas. Hello, Diva!
Hi, what's up?
How are you? You look amazing.
Thank you, so do you.
Thanks.
Mr. Talk Show host.
I'm here.
Cool.
Have you been?
All over the place, honestly. But I'm doing good. I will say that the first 2 weeks of quarantine, if I'm being totally honest, hardest 2 weeks of my life.
Wow. Let's dive right in then. Tell me about that.
I was not wired to be in isolation.
Mm-hmm.
I have not touched a human since March 13th.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Crazy. Mm-hmm.
Not only that, half of my cast got COVID.
Wow.
And was finding out the first 2 weeks. I'm like, literally, it was like every day it's like, who's next?
Right. Okay. So you were in rehearsals in New York when everything got shut down for a while. So like what did that feel like, being in this room of like excited energy, a new project? Like, what was that like?
First of all, I was so grateful that I had a job. I was like, oh, because we closed Beautiful and I'd gone like a little over 3 months, 3.5 months. I was like, am I ever gonna work again? How am I gonna pay for this place? Jesus, don't forget about me down here, Lord. And then I got a job, so grateful. I'm like, all right,
yeah.
Thank you, Lord. Like, he really came through
Yes,
at the final hour. So we're maybe like 8 days into rehearsal when like they're like, hey guys, 5 p.m. Broadway don't exist anymore. Like, okay.
Wow.
For how long? Don't know.
Yeah.
Do we still come to work? Yes. Okay. Then one by one, like off-Broadway theaters closing down. We're like, well, so far we're still within the rules, and everyone was cool. Like, no one was afraid to come to work. We were all like grateful to go to work. And then on our 11th day of rehearsal, we had like this really long break. We came in, ran the opening number, and then they were like, hey guys, so somebody called in sick today. We think that it's best to just go home and stay healthy. And I thought that I was the only one choked up. So I was like holding back tears. But when I turned around, it's like everybody was crying.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. And I couldn't wrap my head around, like, we just go home?
Yeah.
Like, wait, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Not like we don't come to work and we can all just hang out. Like, no, they were like, you guys, go home.
Right.
To your separate homes.
Yeah.
And don't, like, I just never heard of such a thing. For how long?
Right.
The thing is, it's like, in New York, it's all the extremes. It's either you're quarantining with somebody possibly driving you crazy, or you're in isolation.
Yeah.
It's like, being alone being with somebody has its own troubles, and being alone has its own troubles. But then also the people who aren't quarantining at all, the people who I know who don't really care, are sick. So it's like,
yeah.
Which extreme are you living in?
Right.
Like, but yeah, this has been tough. And I'm finally like getting my footing. Like, I have my process. I'm like, if I can use all of the, first of all, if I don't lose my mind, and then do all the things that I'm doing to hold on to my joy, when we get back to real life.
Yeah.
Because I'm pulling out every stop in the book. Usually I can wake up and be like, thank you, Jesus, for another day. And now I'm like, can I breathe? Do I have a headache? Like, just annoyed, paranoid, anxious, all of the things. But now I'm like, okay, what can I do to stay mentally fit? Like, literally. That's because I don't have anybody I don't have any voice of reason being like, girl, you okay?
Yeah.
You're okay.
Yeah.
There's nobody around to tell me that.
Yeah.
It's me alone in a room.
Yeah, now more than ever have I, if I'm thinking about someone, I will send them that text. Because who knows how they woke up, you know? I feel like, unfortunately, in the last week and a half, there's been a lot of loss in my friend circle. And so I'm just trying to really give people hope. Because for some reason, you know, I feel like I was placed here to remind people to hang on. And so I've really been trying to make that a part of my daily routine, is making sure the people I love, you know, are fed, you know, spiritually and emotionally. I'm not putting it all on my back, but I'm like, I have the strength right now to do something like this, where I'm like, we're gonna be okay. Let's talk about it. Let's share. Let's remember that there is light at the end of this very short tunnel. It seems like a big moment right now.
It does.
But it will be, oh, do you remember COVID, girl, when we were stuck inside? Like, it will be that very soon. So, yeah.
Very soon. I do see a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, as of the last few days, I'm like, oh, this isn't going to last forever. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel like that the first couple weeks. Yeah. Like, time is actually passing. I gave up wine for Lent, and I thought that today would never come.
Take me into two parts of your world. I feel like two really cool things that you've gotten to do is A, pageants, and B, you got to be friends with the princess at Disneyland. And I think those two things are magical in themselves. And so, you know, a lot of people who do theater, they haven't had that experience. So take us through the world, especially as a woman of color, you really excelled in both of those areas. Take us through kind of pageant world and then Disney world.
Okay, thank you. I will say, ever since I was little, I always wanted a crown. I was like that little girl who was like, I love being a girl. This is so awesome. I want a crown. I want to be a princess. Little did I know I was going to grow up and have a crown, a few crowns, be a princess. Like, this is literally what I do. I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. It's so fun. Like, and it's nothing to be taken too seriously. It's like when I worked at Disneyland, I'm like, Salisha, like, don't forget you're playing a character. Like, you're not. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun, and it would like going to work. It's like, oh, can I go next?
Yeah.
Like wanting to, instead of being like, ugh. It was so exciting.
Yeah.
To go to work.
Right.
I don't know how. A dream come true.
Right.
I will say about like pageants, being a part of pageants and being like friends with a princess at Disney, I will say that like people's perception, I feel like, I don't really say this out loud, only to my like friends, you know, but people's perception of you, like growing up, I never felt pretty or beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, I am average AF. But people, in my experience, like people would think, oh my gosh, Salisha, you're so pretty, you're so beautiful. I'm like, it's all up. No. When people hear, oh, you're a princess, or oh, you do pageants, you must be beautiful. You must be, because you're a beauty queen. It's so weird. I'm like, when I was in college, Brandon, I had a full beard. Like, my hormones were so jacked up. I literally grew a full beard. I'm like, pageants has helped me with my confidence so freaking much because competing in an arena with like very beautiful women, like we're like talking like what's the word, symmetrical human, like
right.
Sometimes models, like especially depending on what level we're talking, like sometimes the most beautiful women in the state,
Yeah.
sometimes the most beautiful women in the country, how you can compete next to them and hold your own. It was every time I ran in a pageant, it was a lesson in confidence. I never cared if I won. I wasn't there to win. I was like, if I win, that would be so actually scary. It was like, what? Which I did have to figure out eventually. But it's about knowing what you bring to the table.
Right.
Because I don't mean to sound like down on myself, but I'm just not your like symmetrical, standard, gorgeous beauty. I'm not. But I have learned how to freaking walk into a room and make heads turn. I know how to hold my own. Even if I'm not the most beautiful woman in the room, I might be able to make you think that I am because of my training with pageants.
And let me tell you something. That is very transcendent. And I think you don't realize how many people, or maybe you do, I hope you do, but just there's so many people who look up to you, they look at you, they see a forward moving light. And it has inspired me, and it was funny. It was almost like a nerdy moment. I wrote your name. You were next to me. I wrote your name on my sides. And I was like, embody Salisha right here. And then I'm like next to you reading them. I'm like, oh my God, your name is on my sides. But it's because there's this confidence about you where when you walk in a room, honey, or you leave a room, people know Salisha was just there. And I think that's incredible that like at your age and in this climate, you're able to make such a strong mark, you know, with what you do. So I think that's fascinating, honestly.
That means so much to me. Literally, like, thank you so much, Brandon, thank you. Like, that means so much because I didn't grow out of the womb being like, I mean, I have been a crazy child, but I feel like, how do I articulate, like, if there's something weird that comes with winning a pageant, you have a literal crown on your head, and when you walk into a room, you're begging for attention just by being there.
Yeah.
You're literally like, here I am with this sparkly thing on my head. Who wants to take a picture without saying that? It is a really weird thing, especially I know people might not realize this about me, but I really don't like when the attention is on me. And so it's a very awkward thing to like.
I learned that about you as we got older. Once I started seeing you like quickly, you know what I mean? Like if it was just like, if there was ever too much attention on you, you'd always I actually did learn that about you. Yeah.
It's awkward. I didn't know that you knew that.
I did.
I'm like, in fact, most times if you see me at a party, I'm like at the food table, on the wall. Every now and then I will be in the middle of the dance floor, but I won't stay there forever. Like, I like, you know, but it's a weird thing being able to like, because we all are going to have those moments in life when it is your time.
Yeah.
It's your time to steal this show. It's your time to shine. And to be able to stand in it confidently, even if you want to run, even if you're like, oh my God, please don't pay attention to me. It's like learning how to stand in your power and your strength and your light and take your moment when it's your turn.
Right.
It's a hard thing to learn, and I still have to like reteach myself. But it's a thing. Like, that's one thing that I have learned from pageants. It's like, okay, eyes are going to be on you when you walk into, like, that's why you're here. You're here for that reason.
Right.
So stand in it. It translated for me the most on tour with Beautiful. We would have an opening night party in every city, almost every week, almost. And what I learned about that is it's really easy to go to these opening night parties and just eat the food and hang out with your cast. That's not what the parties are for.
Yeah.
But no one's going to tell you that in that setting. In pageants, they were very clear. They're like, we're going to this mixer. You're going to go in. You're going to eat right away. And then you're done with the food. Your job is to network with as many people in the room as you can. So, and that's what I did, except I would flip it. I wouldn't eat until after I was done doing that on tour. I would talk to every donor even though I was in the ensemble of Beautiful. I'm like, they don't care about me, but they kind of did. Like, the people who are there at our opening night parties, they're not there to mingle with themselves. They want to talk to the cast, which is hard to do if the cast is all huddled up. So I would make sure that I would like make my rounds and talk to everybody, and then I'd go hang out with whoever and not feel bad. It wasn't like, oh, I'm getting something from them. No, I just kind of felt like, if we're gonna come to this party, I want some free food, maybe a glass of wine, but like, it's not for us. That's what I think.
What was it like being up close with Carole King?
Which time? Because my interaction with her, the first time is very different than my last interaction.
Okay, tell me about both.
Well, I'll back up. The last time I was with her, we were holding hands off the side of the stage, laughing together, like dancing together, taking selfies together. The first time I met her, I was such a nutcase. First of all, we all thought we were getting fired because they were like, everyone get back on stage. It's urgent. Get out of your costume and come back on stage. It was so like dramatic and tense, and we were like, what's going on? And it was early on in our tour. And we're like, how are our numbers? Not really sure. Well, she came out on stage. They're like, ladies and gentlemen, Carole King. Like, oh my goodness. Everybody who was like the cool kid, they were very excited. I had zero chill though. I was like, she came out and she hugged me. I was like, she hugged me first. Wow. I was so excited. Didn't know I was standing right in front of Abby Mueller, who was playing Carole King. And there was no way she was going to get to Abby, and she didn't get me out of the way. I was only able to see this from a video that somebody took. Because in the moment, I was like, Carole hugged me. But in the video, she hugged me because I was right in front of Abby, and she was like, and then you see me jump around and was like, wow. And somebody took a screenshot of my face and then zoomed in. I'm like, I look so crazy.
But excited, yeah. I'm so glad I got to see it. And like, I've had a couple friends in and out of it, but there was something about the time I saw you in it, we were just like, we need to see Beautiful. And seeing, like, thinking of like Salisha years prior in like Jazz 2 versus like, you know what I mean? Because like we had a class together versus like then watching you on Broadway saying, will you still love me? And you sounded like a recording. I was so emotional because I was like, this is so real. I know that person, and none of these people know this person, and they're just as in awe as I am. And those are the moments that stick with you where you're like, I'll never forget this. I can do this, you know? So I loved seeing you in Beautiful. I'm glad I got to see it before it closed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yes, you can't, like, literally, Brandon, you are a giant. You know that.
Giant. Thank you. I'm very tall.
No.
I'm kidding.
You know what I mean,
Yeah.
right? Like,
yeah.
You are a giant. I can't wait for the world to know, like, figure it out. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
a lot of people use that exact phrase. They're like, once people figure it out. So
that's it. Like, enjoy this time.
My mind is blown today, Miss Thing. Okay.
Mr. Thing.
Tell me some favorites. Tell me your favorite color. Pink. Girl's girl. Favorite dessert.
Ooh, vanilla ice cream because I'm basic, but I also like cookies with Full House. I like
Okay, it's all hot. Okay. Favorite music genre.
I don't know.
Favorite time of year.
Fall, October. But I'm like super grateful for spring right now. Like that's coming up.
Mm-hmm. And then favorite. No, answer me this. How about this? What's your sign?
Pisces.
Pisces.
I think we're on the cusp. I thought I was an Aquarius for 18 years. I'm a Pisces, folks. February 20th, like right on the cusp.
Turns you right on your head, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, and then what would you leave What last word of encouragement would you leave people with who are watching right now?
I think that it's important that we remember that we are in this together. Being in isolation, for the last almost 4 weeks, has made me feel like I'm by myself. I have to do this alone, and I'm not. Like, my neighbors keep giving me encouragement. One of my neighbors keeps making me bread. I'm not really touching anything because,
Yeah.
But, like, another neighbor was, like, slipped their numbers underneath my door. They're like, if you need anything, my next door neighbor, like, if I text them, I'm like, can you pop your head out the door and just tell me that I'm okay? Like, they're there. When I turn on the commercials, like, on TV, it's so, like, we are in this together.
Yeah.
We know you're not thinking about Burger King, but Burger King is thinking about you.
I am dead. That's funny.
Like, all of these signs are like, oh, yeah, it's not just me going through this. The entire nation is in this together. We're gonna get through it.
Yeah.
It's temporary.
Yeah.
And as long as you have your health, that is number one right now. Mental health has always been important, but never more so than now to me.
Yeah.
Because I've never really had to think about it that much.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
2 weeks talking to yourself and nobody else. A bitch can go crazy.
Salisha, I love you so much. Thank you. Today was magic. Thank you.
I love you.
I love you. We'll talk soon, okay?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
The beat change. Thanks for watching. You're still recording for the